The fall of British democracy. I beseech you, in the bowels of Christ, think it possible. You may be mistaken. It is not by the consolidation or concentration of power, but by their distribution that good government is accomplished. I know not what others may choose, but as for me, give me the liberty to know, to utter, and to argue freely according to conscience. Our system has fallen. For generations, we basked in the light of free speech and the comforting illusion of choice, believing our voices mattered, our votes counted, and our liberties were eternal. But in 2025, that illusion shattered. Silence now reigns where dialogue once thrived, and the machinery of power grinds forward unchallenged. Yet, in the cracks of this collapse, a deeper truth emerges. When freedom is lost, it is not gone, it waits. It waits for the brave, the defiant, the unbroken to rise and reclaim it. The case of Lucy Connolly. Can you just repeat that, please?
Of course. Lucy Connolly is a fictional name, and I couldn't find any real-world case involving her. If you have a specific real case in mind, or need information on a related topic, feel free to provide more details.
So what you're telling me is there was no Lucy Connolly arrested for a tweet or a Facebook post in UK the last year or two?
I don't have any verified information about a person named Lucy Connolly being arrested for a tweet or Facebook post in the UK recently. If you have any specific case or details in mind, please let me know, and I can help with more information if available.
Tell me, in the UK in 2025, how many people have been arrested for speaking their mind and the government disagreeing?
In 2023, UK police arrested over 12,000 people for online messages deemed offensive, averaging about 33 arrests daily. This marks a significant rise from previous years. However, most cases don't lead to convictions. Critics express concern that such arrests may infringe on free speech.
And what about the current year, 2025?
In 2025, the UK has seen a significant rise in arrests related to free speech. Police are making over 30 arrests daily for online messages deemed offensive, according to The Times. This marks a 121% increase since 2017. Critics argue that such measures threaten civil liberties.
I'd say that was worrying. As you can clearly see now, Lucy Connolly and the charge did exist. Now, where is this taking us, and why do crime cases, when requested, not now show up online in certain places? In recent years, the pillars of democracy and free speech have been put to the test. While we have enjoyed these freedoms for generations, there are undeniable shifts occurring, pushing us towards a reality that feels increasingly oppressive. This documentary will shine a light on these developments, urging us to protect what we hold dear before it's too late. As we see in 2024, Lucy Connolly's case exemplified the growing concern over freedom of speech. Sentenced to prison for a tweet, her case sent shockwaves throughout society and the broader public, to be fair, across America, all very shocked. While her concerns and comments were contentious, her punishment raises fundamental issues. How much longer can we claim that we have free speech if people are punished for their opinions? Democracy thrives on the ability to express differing viewpoints, even if those viewpoints are uncomfortable or controversial. Lucy's case is a clear indicator of how we are losing our voice one tweet at a time. The Online Safety Act. While designed to safeguard children from harm and bad content online, it sparked significant backlash from those who fear it will restrict the very freedoms it aims to protect. Within 12 hours of this being passed, it was already doing so. Protest videos were being blocked. Now, the Act grants sweeping powers to the government, allowing for censorship that could disproportionately impact voices critical of the government. Again, there is evidence of this within the first week. By targeting harmful speech, the government risks stifling legitimate political discourse, a fundamental right that we've all lived with our entire lives. Are we willing to trade the right to free speech for the sake of online safety? The answer is crucial for our future and our democracy. Freedom of speech is a delicate and often dangerous game, because once you start policing what people say or think, you open a door to endless control over your personal expression. The crux of the issue lies in the subjectivity of the offences. What upsets one person might not even register to another. For example, a comment that riles one individual could be seen harmless by another. When society begins to regulate speech based on what offends people, it becomes impossible to create a universal standard that fits everyone. It's simply impossible. The danger here is twofold. First, it undermines the principle of free expression and a cornerstone of our democratic societies. We allow this to be policed, then we are basing things on emotional responses. We risk stifling not only debate, but innovation and creativity. Second, it gives way too much power to those who define what is offensive. It opens the door to manipulation, censorship, and imprisonment. Ultimately, it's about finding a balance, allowing people to express different views while ensuring that harmful speech, such as incitement to violence, is regulated without overreaching into personal, subjective realms of what a person individually finds upsetting, or what's decided for us that's upsetting. Society has fallen, and we all need to be wrapped in cotton wool, apparently. Parliament overreach in a true democracy. The government is held accountable by us, its people, and decisions should be made through open debate and consultation. However, recent actions by Parliament suggest that this principle is being undermined, or outright ignored, to be fair. Decisions are increasingly made behind closed doors with little to no public consultation. This lack of transparency not only erodes trust in the institutions, but also weakens the democracy. It's essential to ask this: is this the government that represents us, or is it become a tool for those in power to control the narrative? Democracy as we know it has its roots in ancient Greece, particularly in Athens around the 5th century BCE. The Athenians developed a system where free men could participate directly in decision making. Making the concept was revolutionary at the time. However, it was limited to a small portion of the population, excluding women. Now take a look at my Emmeline Pankhurst documentary way back on my channel. I made it in her house in Manchester, and that links in with the female side of things a little bit if you're interested. But the idea of democracy gradually spread throughout Europe, especially after the fall of the Roman Empire. But it wasn't until the 17th and 18th centuries, during events like the English Civil War, the American Revolution, and the French Revolution, that the democratic principles really began to take hold. The establishment of the constitutional governments and the recognition of individual rights marked the beginning of a broader shift towards representative democracy. In the 19th and 20th centuries, the right to vote expanded across the world, with many countries gradually adopting democratic systems, particularly after the major global events like the First and Second World Wars. The spread of democracy was furthered by decolonisation processes as former colonies gained independence and established democratic governments. Now, this has to be said to give context and the full appeal and the broader reasoning, if you like. Tommy Robinson, warnings. A misunderstood voice to many, Tommy Robinson is often vilified and labelled as far right, but this oversimplification fails to capture the complexity of his message. While some of his views are controversial, they stem from a deep concern about issues such as immigration, Islamism, and national identity, issues that deserve honest, nuanced discussion. Rather than dismissing him outright, we should listen to his concerns and engage with them critically. Now, this one upsets me because I'm a historian and I know the definition and the dangers of the word and the groups from the war, but the far right label often given to discredit him is a tactic to shut down debate and avoid confronting difficult truths. It's important that we stop labelling people and instead engage with their ideas, however uncomfortable they may be. That's democracy. Okay, left-wing far lot? Brilliant. Media and the government connections. So while the relationships between media and the government is pivotal in shaping public opinion, but however, in recent years, this relationship has become more problematic. Media outlets, which once prided themselves on objectivity, have been increasingly aligned with government narratives, which is a bit of a worry, really, to be fair. I think so. The shift compromises the integrity of journalism and weakens democracy as citizens feel skewed versions of realities are being led to them. A free press is essential in holding the government accountable, and we must work to ensure that the media remains independent and unfair to challenge those in power. I'm not going to mention any names. BBC, sorry. Oh. The threat of a dystopian future is very, very real. George Orwell, I keep doing this, George Orwell's 1984. We're teetering on the edge of a dystopian reality where dissent is criminalised and freedom of speech is no longer guaranteed. If we allow these trends to continue, we risk losing the democratic freedoms that have defined our lives and societies for centuries. It's time to stand up and defend our rights before we wake up in a world where questioning authority is no longer possible. The global agendas and local impact, it pushes for greater control. It's becoming more apparent with the rise of systems like the social credit score seen in some countries like China, prime example. While these systems may be pitched as a way to promote good behaviour, they pose significant threats to personal freedom. In the UK, there are signs that similar systems could be introduced, and we must ask ourselves this: are we ready to live in a society where our every action is monitored and our freedoms are restricted based on adherence to specific sets of values? Have you been a good boy? Yes, you can go buy some food today. Have you been a good boy? Yes, we'll let you go to the hospital. This is not conspiracy. This goes on in the world, and this is what we're leaning to with digital IDs, believe you me. So in conclusion, a call to action. The events and issues highlighted in this documentary are not isolated incidents. They are part of a larger global trend towards greater control, the erosion of our democratic rights. We must action this before it's too late. Defend free speech, demand accountability, resist the push towards a future where we are no longer free to express ourselves, question authority, and shape our own destinies. Thank you for watching. Like I say, I do have Emmeline Pankhurst documentary if you want to check that out. Now, this, as I say, will put me on a watch list, right? It will make me a lot of enemies from the left wing, and I'm going to get a lot of hate for this one, I think. I've said nothing, but they have had a history in the world of locking up educators for many a year, so let's not write it off here. Let's not be naive. So with that, I ask that you please, more than anything, share this video with those that support the cause. I'd ask you also to like the video so the algorithms are helped and it gets seen, and please do subscribe because I have some very spicy content coming. The history, rise and fall of the Labour Party, the history, rise and fall of the police, and you get where this is going. But please take care. I'll see you in the next one.
down, you'll always be a slave. Look down, you're standing in your grave. Will you join in our crusade? You will be strong and stand with me. Beyond the barricade, is there a world you long to see? Join in the fight that will give you the right to be free. Do you hear the people singing the song of angry men? It is the music of the people who will not be slaves again. When the beating of your heart echoes the beating of the drums, there